license.
Are you Miss Newbin?
Yes, sir.
Miss Newbin, you're charged with failure to stop and give information, which is leaving the scene of an accident without exchanging information. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you can afford one, one will be appointed to you.
Yes, sir. On October 16th, 2024, the officers were dispatched to a citizen following a failure to stop and give information suspect in Harris County, Texas. The officer made contact with the complainant, whose vehicle had a large-sized dent in the rear quarter panel with damages that appeared to be new. The defendant's vehicle had minor dents and scratches on the left panel of the motor vehicle. The complainant stated he was driving when the defendant tried to change lanes into the lane the complainant was in, but the defendant ended up hitting the complainant instead. The complainant stated the defendant quickly drove southbound, stopped one time, and stated she would not provide information regarding an accident that had only caused some scratches and bumps. The complainant stated the defendant then drove away and the complainant followed her to an apartment complex, with the gate closing before the complainant could follow her inside. The defendant stated she was driving. She attempted to get over to the far left lane. The complainant was on the phone and not paying attention, and she hit the complainant, causing minor scratches and dents. The defendant stated the complainant looked crazy, so she did not stop and kept driving into other parking lots to avoid the complainant. The defendant stated there were only minor damages, so she should not have to provide information. The damage was approximately $200.
Okay. Ms. Newbin, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Do you have a valid Texas driver license? You are not allowed to drive. I am making that a condition of your bond. You will be signing an affidavit with me today promising you're not going to drive. If I find that you drive, I will have a contempt hearing. You'll be facing an additional 6 months in jail and a $500 fine every time you drive. Do you understand? If you want to drive, all I'm asking you to do is follow the law, get a license, get liability insurance, and then I'll let you drive. But if I find that you drive in violation of this, there's going to be a heavy, heavy toll. Do you understand? What do you do for a living, man?
Hairstylist,
How much money do you make a month?
around 2,500.
Do you have any children?
Yes.
How many children do you have? Do you get support for the kids? You want to apply for an appointed lawyer? Okay, I'm gonna have you come up here, swear to us that you're not gonna drive. She's gonna give you an application for a court appointed lawyer. I need you to fill out everything for me and be honest, and I'll see whether you qualify. After that, I'll have you take a seat. I'll have you sign a receipt with Victoria, and then we'll have you take a seat in the jury box, right? Okay? Please. Do you want a second to talk to him first?
Just the arraignment, right?
No, I haven't done it yet.
Okay, let's just do it.
Do you want to, you want to wait?
We're good. We're
You're
good.
good?
I've already
Okay.
spoken.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Cruz Mendoza. Sir, you were charged with driving while intoxicated. You are facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you.
On October 16th, 2024, the officer conducted a traffic stop for the defendant impeding traffic and for an improper turn. The defendant was the sole occupant and operator of the motor vehicle. Upon contact, the officer observed the defendant with red, watery, bloodshot eyes, an odor of an alcoholic beverage, slurred speech, and poor balance. The defendant appeared confused and was unable to tell the officer where she was coming from. The defendant advised he consumed 4 12-ounce Corona beers and 1 40-ounce Corona beer prior to operating the vehicle. 9 opening containers of 12-ounce Corona beers were located inside the motor vehicle, all cold to the touch.
Drinking while He's driving? Is that what you're saying?
Cuando
Yes, Your
él
Honor.
lo que conducía es lo que me está diciendo. Sí, señor.
Standard field sobriety
Las
tests
pruebas de
were
estándar de
conducted.
seguridad se habían
HGN was 6 out of 6.
HGN de
Walk
las
and
6 a
turn
6,
8 out of 8.
de 8 de 8,
One leg
cambio de
stand, 0 out
voltear,
of 4.
pararse una pierna, 0 de
The
4.
DIC was
El
read
DIC se
and the
leyó
defendant
y
consented
el
to breath.
acusado dio
The
consentimiento
results
basado
were
en
.138 and .14.
.114.
Mr. Cruz Mendoza,
Señor Cruz
I'm going to
Mendoza,
find that there's
yo voy a
probable
encontrar que
cause
sí
to
hay
go
suficiente
forward with your
motivo para
case.
seguir adelante con
I
su
would
caso.
hope that you recognize it's elementary that you're not supposed to have alcohol in the car while you are driving. And I'm going to tell you now that in and of itself is a minimum of 5 days in jail to any sentence that you get. What is your immigration status in this country? Are you here with or without permission?
Without permission.
What happens if you go to jail?
Va a la cárcel. No,
Think.
yo no, piense.
Don't tell him, Enrique. I
No le
want him
diga,
to think.
Enrique. Quiero que lo piense.
Are you in this country with or without permission?
Sin permiso.
Sin permiso.
Without permission.
What happens if you go to jail?
Si acaso usted va a la cárcel. Deportation.
Right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
You will get an immigration detainer. You will be stuck like Chuck in jail until this case is over with, and then you will be shipped off to immigration, where you will sit for another 6 to 9 months waiting for immigration to do whatever they're going to do. And I'm going to tell you now, if you do anything close to anything more than 4 hours in custody, they will put a detainer on you. Do you understand?
¿Entiende? Yes.
I'm putting conditions on your bond now. And if I find that you violate them in any way, I will put you in jail and you will not get any more PR bonds. If you do not have a Texas driver license and liability insurance, you are not to drive. I am now making that a condition of your bond. Do not drive. Do you understand?
¿Entiende? Yes.
I'm also ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs, and I will randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol and kind of drugs, likewise, you will go to jail. No more PR bonds.
Voy a encarcelar y no voy a ver.
I didn't have any pride either, guys, Alex.
Señor
No, Your Honor.
presidente, no, señor.
Have a great
Ok,
lawyer.
usted tiene un gran abogado.
It is your responsibility to stay in touch with Mr. Ramirez, and he will tell you when you have to come back to court. If he tells me he can't get a hold of you because you're playing games and not responding to phone calls or text messages, I will issue a warrant for your arrest.
A ver, orden de arresto.
Do you understand?
¿Entiende?
I'm going to tell you now that I will do everything in my power to protect this county.
Out.
I will protect this county at all costs. This is the only warning that you are going to get from us. So I hope that you heed it. There will be no more for you.
De que no va a haber otra.
I will have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. After that, I'll get you to Victoria. We'll have you sign a reset. After that, you'll get with pre-trial for your bond conditions. And after that, you guys are free to go. Be safe when you're out there and make good decisions.
Cuidado cuando andas de afuera y
Judge, I've
tome
asked the
buenas
state to sign
decisiones.
Ernest Javon Steed.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Steed, you're charged with violation of a bond condition or protective order. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
On October 2nd, 2024, officers were dispatched to a disturbance at a residence in Harris County, Texas. The complainant stated that the defendant came to her apartment and rang the doorbell. The complainant has footage of the defendant from the doorbell camera showing him outside her apartment door trying to talk to her through the camera. On June 5th, 2024, the court issued a protective order which states the defendant is prohibited from coming within 200 feet of the complainant's residence, and the order is in full effect until June 5th, 2026. The defendant was given notice on May 31st, 2024 of the application of the order and was in a Zoom video on the date of the hearing.
Is this from the 280?
Yes, Your Honor.
The domestic violence court?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you know if he has any open cases now anywhere else? You mind checking?
I'll run. And yes, Your Honor. No open cases, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Steed, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I want you to understand that the Texas Constitution does not allow me, but in extremely limited circumstances, to hold someone at no bond, zero bond. This is one of those cases that if we put conditions on your violation of protect board and you violate these conditions, I can have a hearing to hold you at no bond until this case is over with. And I will do that in a heartbeat to protect every single person of this county. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I'm ordering you now not to have any contact with this person and not to be in possession of any weapons. I'm not asking much. I'm just asking you, don't have any contact with this person. Don't go near within 200 feet of where they live or where they work. If you violate it again, you know what's going to happen. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Do you see a mark that's been granted on this one? I want to make you aware of one more thing, that I'm going to enter, and if there's not a protective order now, other than the one in there, I'm going to enter in a new one right now. And if you violate the protective order again, you will be charged with a third-degree felony, looking at 2 to 10 in the penitentiary, because a second or subsequent violation of protective order, that's a third-degree felony, and you're looking at a lot of time in prison. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
No means no. Doesn't mean maybe, doesn't mean she call me, ask me to come over. Just no means no. That's it. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm entering in what's called a magistrate's order for emergency protection. Magistrate order for emergency protection that identifies Breonna Ford as a protected individual. You cannot commit family violence or an assault against this person. Commit an act in furtherance of an offense under section 42.072 of the Texas Penal Code, which is the stalking statute. You cannot stalk, threaten, harass, use another person to communicate a threat or harassing behavior. You cannot go within 200 feet of where she lives or where she works, and you cannot be in possession of a weapon. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
No one can authorize you to violate this statute. So if she were to call you and say, hey, man, come on over, let's talk about this, and you go to that address listed in here, you're still in violation. So just don't have any contact with the person. Don't go over there and you'll be fine.
Yes, sir.
What do you do for a living?
Photographer, and I do Uber as well.
Do you have a Texas driver license?
Mississippi. I'm from Mississippi.
How
I'm
long?
back and forth.
What's the domicile? Where do you live?
I live in Houston, but I do a lot of photography in Mississippi, so I kind of go back and forth on the weekends.
Do you have liability insurance in your name?
Yes.
Have car insurance in your name?
Yes.
Okay. As long as you have car insurance in your name and you have a license and you may continue to drive, just don't violate this protective order.
Yes, sir.
We are going to give you time for you to hire a lawyer. So I'm going to have you come up here, sign the protective order. We'll give you a copy of the protective order. I'll have you sign a reset with Victoria. We'll have you take a seat while I get your bond conditions for you, no contact, no weapons. After you sign it, you'll be free to go. All right? Come on. I didn't see.
Just around the 23rd, the original GWI, we refiled it as a second, so that original one is going to be dismissed.
Okay, so he's pleading to a GWI second. Okay. Mr. Menchu, you're charged with driving while intoxicated, second offense. This is a Class A misdemeanor. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. Now, if I remember correctly, as part of this DWI, someone was actually killed. But the problem was causation. So we couldn't prove that it was the actual DWI that caused the death versus perhaps an intervening, superseding event that actually caused it.
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Menchu, the fact still remains that someone is dead. We lead the nation per capita. In every single other state, we lead the nation in people who die due to an alcohol-related collision. You are now one of those statistics. How is it fair that this person is not now alive, but you are? How is that fair? Why is that fair? Understand that this is now a second. If you ever have alcohol on your breath, in your system, and you get into a car and you're pulled over, you will be facing a felony charge, up to 10 years in prison. And I will tell you now that if you pick up a felony DWI, the DA's office is going to be all over you in punishment to try to max you out to 10 years in prison, because they will bring this up and use this against you. You understand? So if you are not smart enough to consider how to get home other than getting in a car after drinking, you will be doing a lot of time in prison, and rightfully so. Because what the hell is it going to take for you to get into your thick skull that you shouldn't get into a car after drinking? You are giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. What are we doing in this?
So probation judge with 10 days as a condition.
Fantastic. I'm happy that you're getting on probation, because I'm going to keep you myself. I'm not letting you go anywhere into the region. I will supervise you myself. The first time you consume alcohol, if you do, I'm going to put you into a rehab facility. I promise you. I don't care if it's mouthwash. I don't care what it is, a hair dye, whatever excuse you may be. You will go into a rehab program. It's 10 days in jail to do as a condition, meaning you will do every day of 10 days. It is 1 year in jail, probate for 2. You will do a repeat offender DWI education class. What else?
I wasn't sure if this court has it on their probation. I've seen some that they do a DWI caseload to keep a closer eye on these kind of cases.
Oh, you mean sober court?
If you think sober court's fair.
I don't know, because I let's do this. Let's do a TRAS, and then let's see what the TRAS does, and then we'll do what they recommend. If they think that he should do sober court, then so be it. If not, then he'll stay with me and I'll supervise it myself.
Yes, Judge.
So you will be doing what a TRAS, which is an evaluation to see what conditions, other conditions you may need. You must fulfill those conditions. If they say you need sober court, then you must do sober court. No drugs, alcohol, random urinalysis. You will do, did you have a victim impact panel?
Yes, we have 3 victim impact panels on this one, Judge.
You will do 3 victim impact panels. You will no breath test refusal, meaning that if you were pulled over in a car, which you shouldn't be because I'm going to suspend your license, but if you are unwise enough to get into a car and drive and an officer asks you to submit to a breath specimen, you must take it. I am going to suspend your license for 2 years. Don't you get into a car. The worst thing that you could possibly do, if you want me to sprout horns in a tail and become the devil, get into a car and drive. 2-year driver license suspension.
Honor, just for the record, he does not have a license.
Don't drive. If you are not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. So once you accept this agreement, Mr. Menchu, there's no more turning around. You can never challenge this or change this. You cannot say, oh, I didn't know what was going to happen with immigration. You were today, you were done forever. You understand?
Yes.
Is this what you want to do? How do you plead to the offense, or guilty or not guilty? I will find you guilty. I will send it to you the agreement. Please see the clerk.
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks, Joe.
I filed a dismissal.
Okay, thanks. Oh, Joe.